Sean Sewell, Engearment.com podcast. We have back on our favorite guest. It's Pat Flynn.
Oh, come on, your favorite?
Seriously, yeah. This 5 times now, maybe 6 times.
Wow.
Always easy to talk with Pat. He's got the fitness background, the kettlebells, the virtuoso on guitar, the books. He has a new book. He has another book coming out soon.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about, Pat. So welcome back.
It's great to be here, Sean. I always love chatting with you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure. All right. So for date and time, it is the holidays. Hanukkah just wrapped up. Christmas for Pat and I will be here next week.
Wow. It's crazy to think about.
End of the year, 2023. Time is flying. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess let's try and catch up on your audience and my audience. What have you been up to, Pat, the last year?
Yeah, I've had a lot of irons in the fire. In a lot of, I like this whole idea of trying to be a generalist, right? So I always try to do a lot of different things, and I always try to do them at least fairly well. So this year was a big writing year for me. For your audience who isn't familiar with me or is only familiar with me in the fitness space, my more formal background is philosophy. So I've been doing a lot of work there, and I wanted to essentially get 3 things done. I wanted to get this book written, which was just published in October. So that was a huge books kill me. I've written numerous books, but there's every time it you can, I don't know if how the lighting is in here, if you can see the progressive grayness of my beard or not. And I wanted to get 2 academic articles written and published, and by the skin of my teeth, that's right at the end of the year here. Looks like that's going to happen. So that's kept me very busy. I took on another new book project this year related to fitness, and I told you before we hit record that I literally have the edits due today, the 16th. Which means if I get in at 11:59 p.m., I'll still have made my deadline. So it'll be a long afternoon. Fortunately, they're not too brutal. I've already been chipping away at that. So a lot of writing, some general business stuff, just I'll tell you what though, like Sean, with me, things always move where I'll kind of really focus and surge in some areas and just kind of keep other things in maintenance. You can't do everything at once at like the highest intensity. So you kind of have to pick and choose, like, okay, I really want to focus on writing a book and like just not have my business explode. Right. Let's just make sure that it keeps growing kind of at a normal pace, or at least doesn't go down. So nothing like too crazy exciting on the business front. But I also see kind of like everything else I'm doing, even if it's not immediately related, there's always connections and ways that it helps, just kind of what I'm doing business wise. Fitness wise, same thing. It's like pretty simple. Like this year I was really just focused on just trying to stay as healthy and generally fit as I can. Accumulated a lot of like aches and pains over the years from just doing stupid stuff in the gym, and I made a point to try and resolve those, and I really have. Like I had really bad elbow tendonitis flare up last year. It's an awful injury because it's one of those it's so annoying. It's like it's your elbow, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Who needs an elbow? Yet it affects everything you do, right? From opening the fridge to all the exercises. So I really worked hard to get that resolved, and I did. And just playing a lot of music, man. Doing the band thing. We're gigging a lot. So that's keeping me really busy because we have a preposterously large set list, and it's mostly stuff I've never played before. So like hours a day, it keeps me busy for something that is of zero economic benefit whatsoever, but just love to do it, Yep.
I get you on that. I have 2 questions on it.
Yeah.
Okay. The name of the band, 4 on the Floor. There's 2 ways to take this. My DJ mind wants to take it as house music. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
4 on the floor.
Or like bass drum,
Yeah. So the bass note is on the 4th. It's on a downbeat. That's typical house, techno, electronic music in general, but it's not you. You, I believe, are coming from the car angle.
Yeah, good guess. Yes. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is I didn't know this until recently because it ain't my band. This band has been around for about 20 years. Interesting story. The lead member of the band is Brad Schimmel. He's the former attorney general of our state, and he's running for Supreme Court in Wisconsin right now. He just announced it. So we were on the news because we played his announcement rally and all this stuff. So now I'm inadvertently sort of wrapped up with this whole political campaign thing. Brad's an amazing dude. He's an amazing dude. But anyway, the band has been around in the Milwaukee scene for like 20 years.
Whoa.
And then what happened is, when COVID hit, I guess things sort of fell apart with their other members, and their lead guitarist, who was also their keyboardist, left to do his own thing. So they had this slot open. I don't play keyboards, so they had to bring in multiple people to replace one guy, type of deal. So
Yeah.
the band now it doesn't make sense because now we've got like 6 members, band of 4 on the floor. But no, it is what you said. It is the car scene. These are, I forget, they had like some first gig was at like a gas station
Oh,
or
there you
car.
go. Yeah.
It's something like that. I should know the story because it is my
Tracks.
band now. But
Yeah.
if somebody asks like why you called 4 on the floor, I'd be like, I don't know. It has something to do with cars.
It's a transmission thing. You
Yeah,
wouldn't.
listen to this song here.
Oh, that's funny. I think you had 3 on the tree or 4 on the floor is how the
Yeah.
hearing worked. Maybe you can
Yeah.
have 6 for fun, 6 for fun.
Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been crazy, but it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, I love seeing that. And I was just showing off your virtuoso chops in our gym yesterday. Some woman came in and I was playing your eruption as we're talking about on your video. It looks amazing, sounds amazing. Slight bit of clipping on the microphone, which
Oh man, it's those things.
but only you and I know that. Nobody else
Yeah.
cares. But I'm happy to help you fix it. So this
Yeah, I
woman,
appreciate that. Mhm.
yeah, I got you covered. This beautiful woman runs over. What's going on? I'm like, have you ever heard of a virtuoso? She's like, oh yeah, in the IT world we consider it this. And I was like, what? No, teach me that in 5 minutes. Right now I'm going to show you a virtuoso. And so she's like,
You're
oh,
making me blush, Sean.
well, you work your tail off for it, man, and it shows. Like you have the noodling down, and it's just, and then the slight use of the Floyd Rose, just it's amazing. We actually had a band we had a Festivus last weekend for our gym, in celebration of airing of grievances and feats of strength that comes from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And we have a very mixed community. We have, people who celebrate Christmas and a lot who celebrate Hanukkah and a lot who just like to wear flannel and lift things up. And so
Yeah.
we're like, dress like a lumberjack, bring your kids, and bring your favorite food and label
I love it.
food. It was so much fun, Pat. You would loved it. About 80.
Oh.
So I have a picture I'll probably shoot and put into the show notes. Everybody's in flannel. There's a bunch of jacked.
I'm wearing it right now, brother.
Right there. I love it. Yeah, you'd fit right in. Just bring some turkey meatballs on a stick and you're in.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, and this might be of interest to your listeners because you talk about that eruption video I posted. It's funny like how it will bring people out of, because I just put it on Facebook. It's really just for my friends. I don't have a guitar channel or anything like that. Not really. And but if I did, I would like to. This is a project that will never happen anytime soon because I got so much else on my plate. Is I would love to do a guitar channel because there's a lot of stuff out there that's like, oh, here's how to play eruption, and it's the tabs and this part, but there's nothing so far as I can tell, at least on YouTube, of how to practice eruption or how to practice certain things. And that is a total, like, it's one thing to say, okay, those are the notes, right?
Yeah.
But how do I get it under my fingers, right? And there's so much for me. And for the gentle listeners, stay tuned because this isn't going to stay on music. There's so much for me that I learned as an early musician of skill development that is applied across the board, right? That is applied to business, to fitness, to martial arts, because like how you tackle something difficult with a musical instrument, that approach, it generalizes. So I think it would be cool if to start like a skill building channel, but kind of angle in, from that perspective, because again, there's a million people on YouTube who are teaching you these songs, but so far as I've been able to tell, and I've done a lot of research, because I think with Eddie Van Halen, I'm a huge Van Halen fan, but for all my guitar life, I never really played Van Halen. It was just that you really got me was on the set, the Van Halen version, and the keyboardist is like, we should do Eruption, and I'm like, oh, heaven help me, right? Because like this is like the set list is already a nightmare for me. It's like, we've got Van Halen, we've got Extreme, we've got AC/DC. It's like you guys have like 3 chords. I've got like 14 million notes, right? And 5 kids. And I'm like, okay, I can do like something in the spirit of Eruption, right? Like, yeah, I kind of know a few licks growing up, this or that. And then the keyboardist is like, no, man, the purists are gonna get angry if you do that. I'm like, you like really? Like really? Like you're gonna make me do this? So like the past year, man, I've like kind of obsessed over this thing, where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna figure this damn thing. And honestly, like I've played a lot of hard stuff. This is the hardest thing. I've like, there's something about, you know what it is, Sean, for people who are music fans, I think they'll appreciate it. But if not, I think it's now the thing that makes Eddie so hard. This is an analogy I heard some from somewhere else, and I think it's absolutely right. Is that there's a lot of like stuff that I would play. It's like speed or progressive metal. It's very fast. It's very technical, but it's kind of predictable. It's
Mhm.
linear. There's a lot of patterns. So like once you kind of get the speed up, it's actually it's not as hard as it sometimes looks, right?
Yeah.
The thing with Eddie, as somebody described it, it's like Matt Damon in the Bourne movies driving around in the Mini Cooper, right?
Mhm.
It's just so chaotic. It's all over the place. He shifts gears crazily. The transitions you have to make,
Yeah.
the leaps, the swing, the dynamics, and you're not sure if it's going to land. Like you're nervous the entire time. Like, is this going to explode at any minute? Right?
Yeah.
Uh, that's what makes him so difficult, right? It's not that he plays absolutely faster than anybody. It's just that spontaneous, chaotic control that he has.
That's a
And that's
really
something
fun
I learned.
analogy.
That's something I learned studying him. I'm like, this is like, because I was thinking, like, I've played faster stuff in this. Why is this so dang like hard, right? It's really, really hard, and it's something in that neighborhood, if it makes sense, right? Mm-hmm.
That made sense to me. That I
Mm-hmm.
love Jason Bourne movies, and I'm just imagining him driving sideways down steps. I'm like, Eddie Van Halen would do this.
Yeah, it's like, how's he gonna stick this one? But then he
Yeah.
does, right?
Yeah, that's a fantastic analogy. Oh, you're right. I enjoy playing very fast, very aggressive metal,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't touch 90% of what he does. It's just over my pay grade right now. But practice, you're really good about practicing. And back to finding a way to help people with that. Years ago, I created the Mountain Fitness School, and I went through a service called Teachable, which has the
Yeah.
alternative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Teachable was able to load up videos and have progressions like, okay, you can do the deadlift. Now let's try the start, stop, swing. Now let's try the two-handed swing. Now we can progress up. So maybe we could do like a run, and then, okay, I can do a run, hammer on and hammer offs. And now you can do a run through this, kind of thing. Might be an idea of how to build people up some confidence and give them the skills to approach to do some really fun music.
Yeah, no. So, well, yeah, we can just take it from the music thing. The one, and I talk about this in my 2019 book, How to Be Better at Almost Everything. This is the method I use. I call it the 3 I's approach, right?
Mhm.
And the 3 I's are isolation, integration, and improvisation. And so the idea there, and this is something I really learned first in music, right? This was just taught to me, and then I realized later on, like, oh wow, you can apply this to almost everything. So the idea is, okay, you're learning a skill, you're tackling something. We can start with music, but then we can show how it works to writing or fitness or whatever. Um, and you identify the initial speed humps, whatever those are, right? This is something my instructor always taught me. Like, you got to practice the speed humps. Don't worry about doing the whole thing every time, because like you're good at this section. You break down here. You need to focus, isolate. So you isolate, and look, starting out, you might have to kind of isolate everything, right? But you isolate the things that are really struggling. You take them out of their immediate context, and you just rehearse them until they become second nature, whatever it is. Maybe it's any couple seconds worth of eruption that's giving you trouble. You just pull it out, you put the metronome on, which, by the way, that doesn't fit to eruption, but you just do it anyways, right? And you just boom, 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 until you can do it without thinking about it, right? But then that isn't enough, because if you just do that, you realize it breaks down when you put it back into context. And that's where it's integration. You got to make sure that it's fitting back into the wider project that you need it to fit into, right? It's one thing to just get like one passage under your fingers, but how do you get in? How do you get out? And so what you do then is you start to kind of widen it out. Okay, I need to make sure that I'm practicing the first couple notes going into it and the first couple notes getting out of it. That's really important, right? Transitions in everything, in exercise, in writing, how you transition in your writing or how you transition in your music are huge. Where people mess up a lot are in the transitions, right? I mean, think of the kettlebell swing. When do people usually round their back? When they're putting it down, right?
Yeah.
Or when they're starting. It's the starting and the stopping, the getting in, getting out, where people are just, for whatever reason, prone to making those sorts of mistakes. So then you have to focus on the integration. How do I get it to fit back in, seamlessly? And for something like anything Eddie's doing, it's always insane, because he's always just kind of switching techniques, and you got to dump from like one kind of crazy swing lick to a whammy bar thing, and then a tremolo picking thing, and it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. But you have to get those things to fit together. Same thing if you're transitioning between starting or stopping exercises or complexes or flows or circuits or what have you, right? It's really important to practice those transitions and then to integrate. And eventually, you build the full integration. The idea is, okay, whatever I've been isolating for however long I need that to be integrated into a full song that I have complete control of, or an entire workout or program or whatever. And then the highest level, that doesn't always apply to everything, but I think it's kind of worth reaching towards, is that improvisational aspect where you have something so well under command or control that you can sort of breathe your own life into it, that you can start to be more intuitive with it. So in music, that means you just start to improvise. You start to be a little bit creative. And it's really important for me because a lot of people are creative with things in music, but the creative, they improvise before they were able to integrate. Okay, you're improvising because you couldn't do the thing originally, right?
Guilty.
And that's and like, hey, fair enough. For some things, like that's whatever, right? But for me, if we're talking about true mastery, you have to own the thing first and then you make it your own, right? Then you start to improvise with it. Same thing with exercise. It's really important for me. I tell my clients, look, we're going to do things by the book. You're going to own the program. You're going to follow the protocol, and then over time, things will sink into you, and you'll learn to be more intuitive. And this is again something my music theory teacher always taught me. She was amazing. This was in high school. Always hammered it in my head. You have to know the rules before you break the rules, or bend, or at least bend them. Right? You have to know the rules before you bend or break the rules. Because I always wanted to break the rules. I'm like, my rock guys, they do parallel fifths all the time. It's like, we don't do that in classical music, right? Here's why. And then you learn why. And then, of course, as a rock guitarist, you're going to go just break all the rules, right? So same thing with exercise. People want to be intuitive in their approach. I get it. There's something free about being intuitive, but if you don't have the chops and the command and the control and the knowledge of the basic principles and application, you're not going to be successfully intuitive. You're just going to wander in circles. So it's sort of intuitive programming would be kind of my parallel to improvisation for exercise, that once you have such a command of it, like you can kind of auto or self-program, if that, does that make sense?
Completely.
Those things
And on both levels too. Now we get to work with people for coaching, and they'll come in, I know the swing. I'm like, cool, show me your swing. They don't have the swing. We're going to do something else for a while. Why, coach? Trust me. You want to get to here, so that feels good. So that if you are having intuition, you want to do an additional set, green light.
And that's so, like, it's so important to impress that upon people. And it's kind of annoying because nobody wants to hear, like, oh, you kind of got to do the thing that sucks and you don't want to do to get the thing that's cool and that you do want to do. But it's true, right? Like, you can't play a really cool piece of music unless you sit there with the stupid metronome on and just do your extra. And it's boring. It's super boring, right? Same thing with exercising and programming. Yeah, you just got to hammer that technique. You got to do a lot of that tedious grinding work. Same thing with writing. You have to just read a ton. You have to just get a certain word count sort of every day. It's tedious, but that's, there's a saying, discipline equals freedom, right? When you discipline yourself like that, you then gain the skill to be free and creative in a way that's extremely exciting. And then you look back like, oh, that was worth it, right? So that's all you can really say to people. Like, at some point you're going to look back and you're going to realize this was worth it, and you're glad you did it. Probably won't like it now. Maybe you won't hate it. I hope you try not to hate it, right? And I hope you try to see like where we're going. But people, like, it's so important to understand that is just a necessary part of the process.
Oh, I love it. And that last part from Jocko Willix, who's a terrifying voice, but good wisdom.
It's traditional. It's traditional wisdom that people have forgotten. It's Stoic wisdom. It's Christian wisdom, right? The idea has always been that, like, true freedom for a human being is flourishing. It's not being bound down by various restrictions or restraints or addictions or sins or whatever. And that you make the good life at first accessible by disciplining yourself, and then effortless. That discipline equals freedom. It's a very traditional notion of freedom, and Jocko just sort of tapped into that and helped reintroduce modern culture to ancient wisdom in many respects.
Thank you for turning us on to that. I don't want to be starting with him and ending with him. So that's more fascinating and more respectful than anything. So thank you for that.
Oh, for sure.
Speaking of your book, looks like How to Be Better at Almost Everything is now an Audible book. This is new to me.
Yeah, I think that's been around for a while because I voiced it. I was surprised. I'm like, who wants to hear my annoying voice? I can't stand it on my own podcast. But they were pretty insistent. They're like, no, people like when the author does it. And that was crazy because they flew me out to a studio in Michigan. And I did, and they booked me for 3 days. But like, I don't like traveling, Sean. I didn't want to be there. So I did the entire thing in a single day. Just sat in that studio room for just all day long. I'm like, I am finishing this book. And people ask, well, how did your voice hold up? My voice wasn't the problem. I'm jabberjaw. I talk all the time. The thing that hurt the most were my eyes. because I
Oh,
had to look
really?
and read the iPad. Like my eyes just felt like they were gonna fall out of my head like
Yeah.
halfway through, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going. So, anyways, we got it done. So, yeah, that's been there for a while. I haven't listened to it.
I'll listen to it tomorrow. I had a fun thing with Audible. They canceled our account and I had to reactivate it. And I proved I'm a member. They gave me 15 credits. So I'm good on credits and it'll be the first book I get.
But
And then
let me know, man, because like I'm nervous. I know like some stuff I have to go back because talk about self-improvement. One of the most important aspects of self-improvement is review. You need a review process. If it's music, you need to record
yeah.
yourself. You need to listen back. If it's writing, you need to edit yourself, right? Like good
Yes.
writing is editing. If it's exercise, you need to track your workouts, see how you're doing. You need to film your technique. Like review
Review.
is the quickest way to get better at something, right? But there are some things I don't care about enough. And I know if I just like listen to myself recording that stupid book, I'll probably be like just annoyed. And it's not like I get a do-over at it, right? So
Yeah.
I just haven't listened to it. So I hope you don't hate it. Yeah.
No, I'm sure it's gonna be fantastic. And I
Hmm.
definitely will purchase the best argument for God as well.
Oh, cool.
But about the review process, my selfish thing to do is if I've had a few drinks, I'm camping and I have service, I'll go onto our YouTube channel and I'll just watch some videos from 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm like, who is that jackass? The audio is horrible. The white balance is all off kilter. The framing's horrible. The information's good. I could have done this better. I could have done that better.
Yep.
And it's true. All the things I could do better. So then I go home and I figure out how to do them better and evolve and, hopefully offer a better service for people out there.
Well, that's it, man. And yeah, I mean, you're a pro. Everything looks and sounds amazing with the way you do it. So I mean, it really
Thank you.
shows. But
Appreciate
review is painful. Like if we're being honest,
it. It
like
is.
you don't want to look at yourself. Like who annoys you in
Oh,
life more than yourself, right? I mean,
especially just something bad.
I imagine that there's like two exceptions to that. Morgan Freeman's probably like, there's no way he listens back to himself and is like anything but very pleased,
Yeah.
right? But
David Attenborough probably doesn't feel.
yeah, who's the guy? British guy. Um, what movie was he in? He was in the one of the latest Fast and the Furious movies. Just has the most.
Jason Statham.
No, well, he's definitely one of them. There's no way that he listens back to himself and it's
No,
like,
he has people listening for him.
yeah. Oh, Idris Elba.
Oh, Idris Elba. Yeah, super
Yeah.
handsome, great
Yeah,
voice.
but there's a reason that these people are actors and voice. But for the rest of us, nobody wants to. Nobody wants
Us
to review.
plebeians.
It's painful. Your voice, your writing, your music, your fitness, anything. Review is painful. Why? Because when you take that perspective on yourself, you just notice the negatives, right? You really do. We have an inherent negativity bias. This is just something that's wired into us, and that's a painful thing. But I'll tell you what, it's if there's anything that is legitimately a shortcut to getting better, it is review because you will just immediately be so focused on why am I saying every other sentence or right every other sentence? Like why am I making those faces when I'm playing
Yeah.
guitar or when I'm swinging a kettlebell, right? Or why did back look like Quasimodo when I'm squat? Like it just and it
Oh yeah.
sticks in your brain. But I'll tell you what, because it annoys you that you will then go and fix it quickly.
100%.
Whereas if you don't do that, you'll be unaware of it and you'll waste I don't know, years maybe just ingraining these bad habits. So as painful as review is, if there's one thing I could offer to anybody, it's just have a process of self-review for anything you want to get better at, whatever it is. It's absolutely indispensable.
Amen to that. That is fact. Yeah, I'll sometimes see pictures of myself and I'm like, who's that jackass with bad posture and like no hair back here? I'm like, oh, that's me.
You look great, man. I love the touch of gray.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
a good
I'm
look.
earning
Yeah, for
it.
sure. Yeah, I'm
40.
getting there. I'm getting there. My wife was pointing out some of my gray hairs, and she's a fan of gray, so I'm not like shy about it. I'm kind of hoping it
Yeah,
progresses. Yeah.
you earn it for sure. I was taking
Yeah.
my brother-in-law for his 40th birthday last night, and he's got a lot of gray. He also has 4 daughters. Well, you have 5 kids, you understand.
Yep.
And yeah, but I feel like it just came in all of a sudden gray. I'm hoping it stays like this for a while because it's kind of a fun look. And I turned 45 day after Christmas, so I'll stick.
Oh, yeah, nice, dude. You could be on a product box for sure.
There you go, just for men.
Touch of gray,
45-year-old
right?
version. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something cheesy like that.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. I was with Brett Jones actually at the most recent Strong First event, and some other colleagues around your age, my age, and somebody took a picture and we're looking at it and we're like, who are those people? Almost all of us have a bald spot right here, and almost all of us have a bit of a slouching now. Almost all
Yep.
of us have a little bit of a beer belly, even though I don't drink beer. And we're all like, man, is this midlife? Well, at least we're strong and fun and happy.
Dude, I mean that's it, man. Again, I was talking to my wife about this, like getting older, it's got its, little things here and there, but I like it, dude.
Yeah.
Like you just like I don't want to be 22 again. Not for a second. Not for a second, man. Like I never look back and like, oh, I wish I was still 22 or 25. I'm like, I'm not that old, but it's still just yeah, like okay, I need up my mobility routines, need to do more T-spine rotations. I do.
Sure.
But okay, fair enough,
Doing pretty good.
Onward, optimistic. Yeah, for sure. Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you just also just don't care. Like it's so funny. Like you don't care about so many vain things as you get older.
Mm-mm.
At least I don't think so. I remember, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was 10 years older than me when I was in college, and he was like ripped to the gills. And then like, a couple years, later, he's still very strong and fit, but didn't really like care about being super ripped anymore. And he just like explained to me, he's like, oh yeah, I just don't really care about that anymore.
Yeah.
And like I didn't get it at the time because like, you're like early 20s, that's all you want to be is like super ripped. Now I get it. Like this is a lot more important things in life than those just vain, superficial, treasures that you're seeking as a young, foolish kid, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a lot of it might have to do with mindset. I know mine was probably a little bit of body dysmorphia, so I'm chasing that 8-pack at all times. And
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then you mentioned your elbow. I ripped my funny bone actually out.
Oh, I see. Is that a scar from it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, that's a nice battle wound. I like that.
Yeah, I've got quite a few of those. I had 2 surgeries this year. I've been putting them off for almost 20 years, and I finally did them back to back, and they're going good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Well, basically, I had arthritis in both my big toe joints, so they would not move. And so to move, I had to distract the toe and then move it every morning just to get my shoes on.
Wow.
Yeah,
wild. Yeah, that's a neat trick you could show people. Yeah.
Like, first thing in the morning, brush teeth, break toes, kind of thing. And after 19 years of doing that, I actually broke my foot, like broke my foot in March, kicking my wooden table. No reason, no good reason. I was in the middle of the night, got up, wanted to go pee, kicked it full force, broke the toe in half or broke the foot in half. And then when we're at the hospital, like, okay, your foot is broken, but also your toes are broken, way worse. And they have years. So you need this surgery. And that's like the 8th time I've been told I need to do the surgery. So I met a really cool surgeon, who's also a backcountry skier, knew who I was, is part of our backcountry ski group. And I was like, okay, you get who I am, you get what I want to go do. I will do whatever you tell me to do. I'll do PT daily. I will teach them how to use the kettlebells when I'm done with our session. So I did a surgery, do all the PT, and now all the PT, they're smart people, they're doctors, they're all members of our gym, learning how to do kettlebell swings, and they taught me something, teach them something, and it's fun.
That's amazing. I'm so happy for you. And yeah, I feel the same way. Like whenever, very grateful for medical professionals, but I always try to find somebody who's like on the same page. Like, you get what I do, you get what I want to do.
Yeah.
And like we're on the same team here, right? Yeah.
100%. Like, cause he's actually, my last meeting was on Thursday. He's like, I'm not going to see you in my office again because you're recovering quicker than usual. You're going to be fine. But I do hope to see you at these backcountry trailheads. I have your cell phone number. You have mine. Nobody else gets to text me. Please text me what days you're going to go up there because I want to pick your brain in this zone. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah, making friends.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But yeah, getting older, things just hurt. That's how it goes. And I'm also back to that picture where, I was kind of feeling bad about myself and the gray hair, and Brett Jones was like, you even have hair, giving me a hard time. But then look at that picture. Who's in that room with us? It's Pavel, and there's Brett Jones and Sven Reiger and our friend Jeff Newport. Like, these are our
pretty
heroes.
Sweet.
Like,
Sweet.
Reframe. Just get to be in the room with these people and work with them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how quickly you can take stuff like that for granted. So Jeff was there. That's great. I haven't seen Jeff. Yeah. We shared a brief message back and forth the other day online, but that's very cool. I wish I was there, man. That sounds like a great time. Yeah. I don't.
So my role there was I worked directly with Fabio Zonin, the CEO of StrongFirst, and Pavel, and then Brett Jones. Then I mic them up with the microphones we have around here, like little ones right here. Boop.
Yep.
And then but it's a 10-hour, 12-hour course, so these die out at about 5 hours. So the crazy part is I have like 10 sets of microphones, so I'm always trying to watch the battery life. I'm like, okay, as Pavel turns his back, we're going to swap that one out onto him. Brett Jones, yours is going to go. Can you get Fabio? So that's the neurosis behind it. Then I have
Hey man, but that makes for an efficient product for sure. Yeah.
oh yeah, like they record it on the spot, and you got all these masters giving incredible wisdom, and a lot of learning opportunities going on. You have all your colleagues, and you got Jeff there. You got people that you know a lot of people there. Everybody's hanging out, notebooks, taking notes frantically, just drinking from a fire hose. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
What was this event?
This event was well, I guess Paula's new book, Acts.
Oh yeah, okay. So it was based around that. Yeah, my buddy Jim Madden, who I podcast with frequently on my philosophy channel, he's doing that program right now, and he's loving it. He's absolutely loving it. He actually wants to come on my fitness show and discuss it. So we'll probably be doing an episode on that somewhat soon.
I can speak to that too. I'm doing it as well. I was just finishing up Doc Cardle's book, which is up there as well. And Doc Cardle is the leader for the barbell certifications for Strong First. Real strong guy. Jim, your friend Jim probably has some insights into this. Basically, I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's real basic hand-to-hand swings.
Yep.
4 reps on the minute. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's loving it. Quick story about him. If people don't know my buddy Jim, it's a funny story because we got connected in the philosophy world. He focuses on like philosophy of mind. I was doing some research, so I just got connected with him and we started just becoming friends, having lots of conversation. And then I found out he's into the kettlebell thing too. And not only that, he was into it even before I was. He's like an OG, man. He was like early 2000s.
Ooh.
And he's one of those guys. He played football in college and then kind of, just pursued, the life of academia and gained a whole bunch of weight. And then Pavel and Pavel's programs helped him lose 100 pounds. And he's since gone on to, win worlds in jiu-jitsu, Masters division, and just he's killing it now. And he's still to this day just working the Pavel programs and just being hench and totally badass. Yeah.
That's incredible. Hats off to him from me. Has he written a paper about it for Strong First?
He has a book out, but it's not a Strong First book. It's oh man, Jim, I'm gonna let you down by messing up the title. Does Tactical Barbell? No, that's a Pavel thing, right? If you give me 2.5 seconds, Jim Madden fitness book. It is, oh come on, Jim, what is it? Ageless Athlete. He's got an Ageless Athlete book out.
Ageless Athlete.
It's done well. I know it's done well. And Tactical Barbell presents Ageless Athlete by Jim Madden, PhD. Yeah, so even though he is a professional philosopher, he has publications in fitness, and he's just a brilliant guy. It's because he's such a professional philosopher. He can just think so well about things. So I would highly recommend that people check out some of his fitness content. It's just really well done.
Dr. Jim Madden. Excellent. All right.
Yeah, it's just one of those funny small world types of things. We got connected in one way, and then it's like we have this whole other world totally in common, but somehow our paths just never crossed. It's because he used to be on like the RKC forums all the time, and where all of us used to hang out and stuff. But I guess just whatever, just never ran into each other.
That's incredible. Good for him. Well, hopefully cross paths sometime in the future with him as well.
Yeah, we'll have to get out to one of your guys' events at some point.
We have a couple coming up. We have the Strong First body weight with Karen Smith.
Oh yeah,
May, and then we booked Talk About Flexibility, Flexible Steel. We have that in July
with Engearment. Is he still doing that?
He is, but my buddy Matthew Flaherty is going to lead this one.
Okay, yeah, I just haven't kept up with all that stuff, but that would be amazing. That'd be awesome.
Carrot in the cake. My wife and I are building a house right by the airport. Gets done in March. We're building it with a studio in the basement, of course, with guitar amps. And we have a full-on guest bedroom. You'd love to have you if you need a place to stay.
Don't tempt me too much, man. I might be knocking on your door very soon.
You'll be welcome to anytime.
Yeah. What else have you been up to, man? What have you been working on? You've been asking me a bunch of questions. I'm curious to hear what your projects have been.
Well, getting work with Pavel a few times a year now has been really cool. I remember the last time we talked, I was like, what do I do? How do I approach this? And basically, like you said, just show up, be prepared, practice as much things as possible because things will always break, right?
Yeah. Any way something go wrong, it will, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And when it does, do not freak out. Calm is contagious.
Play it cool.
Yes, play it cool. Nobody
Yeah.
knows the internet went out. We lost 4 minutes of the Zoom for the whole world. Just play
Yeah.
it cool.
Dude,
Exactly.
again, that's something that I learned early on. Like every gig, we play a lot of gigs. Every gig, something goes wrong.
It has
Something like the
to.
keyboards like can't get on the internet, get us patches or something, which are,
Mhm.
really important for a song, or something goes wrong. Somebody forgot a cable that we need or something. Right.
Power
Yeah.
cable comes out of the wall. Learn how
Yeah.
to fix that.
Or
X.
we just don't have enough electricity, just
Oh
to
yeah.
power our enormously obnoxious band. Right.
I was working with Derek Toshner. You know Derek.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I just chatted with him recently.
he's the man. We had him out here for a seminar, all terrain conditioning course, and then I got to have dinner with him and his brother Ryan after that event. Actually, here's the menu from that event. They had a
Dude,
strong first menu.
I love it.
Look at that.
Steak. Better be steak on
Steak.
there. Yep.
Yeah, I got a steak.
Yeah,
Um,
Ryan is right down the street from me. I haven't
oh,
seen him
really?
in a while, but I used to. Yeah, I need to go pay him a visit down at TNT.
Oh, he's fun. He's fun. So Derek became a writer with Engearment, our gear review media company. He was doing a big hike up to Denali and wanted to see if we can get him some gear. So we got him outfitted head to toe, thermarest, outdoor research, GoPro, some other stuff. And he went up to Denali, used it, did reviews in the backyard of his place up there in
Dude,
Scotland.
I need to give you guys a plug because he came onto my podcast not recently and just told that entire crazy story
What?
of yeah. So I'll get you a link if people want to
I
hear it.
love to
But
check that out. Yeah.
yeah, I spoke with him, and the back half of the episode it was just him just telling us all about that, right? It was wild, absolutely wild. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun because I see how you and I interact, or how Derek and I interact. I don't know how it goes outside of that, so I would love to see that. It's honestly, Pat, it's my favorite thing is watching the writers get the gear in, go use it in the activities, and then what I try and do is I try and build up their brand, their portfolio. I'm like, okay, I asked for this sleeping bag for you this time. Here's the contact. So next mission, like some of my guys are going down to the third highest mountain in Mexico. It's actually a volcano, a stratovolcano.
Mm.
And I was like, guys, you know how to write an email? Just run it past me the first time. The rest of the time, I trust you. Just go do it. And they went and pitched their own companies, and most of them they landed. So now they have some low extreme hiking boots, some Jobo glacier glasses, and thermarest sleeping bags, negative 20-degree sleeping bags. Like they got all the stuff.
Yeah.
And all it is them having the confidence to reach out to the company, us having the relationship with them already to trust us and doing for 10 years, and then give them a GoPro or their cell phone and go shoot the footage. Everybody's happy. The companies are happy. The stuff's getting used by cool people. I'm happy to see my friends go do the thing. And then the PR companies are like, look, we got this in the hands of people who are using it, not just journalists hanging out in the middle of New York City.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. And there's another good general point there. It's like, man, if people would just learn to ask more, you might get a lot more.
It may say no.
Yeah, you might say no, but like, man, if there's one other lesson that I've learned through these many years of trying different things, it's just like if you just gotta keep asking, right? Like success is it's not entirely a numbers game, but it's predominantly a numbers game, right? It's just like, look, if you only step up the bat once, what's your chances? Not high, of ever hitting a home run, not high, right? But if you're constantly getting up there swinging, yes, you're going to have a lot of misses, no doubt. As you get better and you review and you refine, you'll have fewer and fewer misses, and you'll have a lot of singles, maybe some doubles. You'll get out a bunch, but yeah, every once in a while you might hit that home run or even grand slam. But you just have to keep getting after it. Keep asking. I mean, the first book deal I got was with Wiley, which is a good publisher, and I got it very young. But I was just like I wasn't incredibly smart. I don't think I had a good hook, but I was just damn stubborn and persistent, right? Just like, and I've always been pretty good at just taking it on the chin and taking the rejections and be like, oh, okay, all right, fine. You lost, loser. Next one. And yeah, it's just if you just I would encourage people just to ask more and just play the numbers game for anything that you want to do, right?
Such good advice. And I hope people get it. It's gonna be hard advice to take at first. Another thing to talk about, something we're doing this year. Every year we do what's called a beacon bash. This is our 6th annual beacon bash. And how it started was 3 friends, myself and 2 friends, wanted to go to a parking lot with snow and practice our beacon skills. A beacon is just basically a little radio to communicate. And everybody has one on their person and usually have it in send mode. So a signal is going out. person goes missing. We're like, whoa, where'd Pat go? Well, then we take it off and we put it in a search mode, and we hopefully use the beacon to locate Pat.
Yeah.
And it takes skill. There's education courses. There's certifications for it, of course. And we put it online in our little Facebook group. Like you have a nice big Facebook group as well. And the response was like, oh, yeah, I want to come there. And next thing you know, we had 120 people in just parking lot full of snow. We got shut down. The county people come by like, do you have a permit? I'm like, no. What do we do? And he was super cool. He's like, well, they call Winter Park. And Winter Park is a ski resort here in Colorado. And it's not terribly far away from where we were. He calls them up and they're like, oh, yeah, we're not open yet. They can have the parking lot. And as long as they use the restrooms and not go to restroom outside the restrooms, we're good. And so they give us a parking lot, and then the search and rescue team shows up, and then the dog rescue team shows up, and then Beacon Park people show up, and it turned into an event, right? And every year it keeps getting bigger and bigger. This year we started as a 501c3 nonprofit because every year I'm spending like $2,000 to try to raise $2,000 for the nonprofits.
Right.
Like, that's not making any sense. So yeah. Business bread every time.
Yeah, it's funny how easy it is not to care about that stuff, though.
Right,
until you look at your bank account, it's like, all right, I need to start caring about this stuff, right? Yeah.
Is this why I cannot buy a house? Is because I throw in a nonprofit?
Yeah.
But the nonprofit, we paid ourselves back, and so we're able to still have structure moving forward, and then franchise at different states have different.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so we have one in New Mexico, one in Washington, one in Utah. And they're all to benefit the local avalanche information centers and the local search and rescue teams. And it's a lot of fun. Where I'm going with this is we formed a team. So it wasn't just me making the pitches. Like, hey, it's Sean from Engearment. Can I get split boards for the raffle? Yeah, sure, of course. But it became, 5 or 6 of us like, hey, Smith sunglasses, could we get some goggles for this thing? They're like, heck no. We're like, and then we just get so disenfranchised. I'm like, guys, that was one ask out of a list of 20.
Right.
Get to it. Just get to it. It's not personal. Just do it.
Yeah, dude, that's it. And this is something I learned. Actually, is funny thing. I've never really had a real job in my life because I always figured I'd do something with music or writing or something like that. And even though I do a lot of music, it's really writing and tied into marketing my own business that I do. But the kind of real job I had for a little bit when I was in late high school and college was selling cars. So my stepmom worked at a car dealership, and she helped me get my license. You needed a license in Wisconsin to do it, but you could get it when you were 6 like young.
Wow.
And boy, man, like you learn, like you're either not going to make any money because like the way the business was, at least when I was there, it was like if you didn't sell cars, you didn't get paid, right?
Yeah.
And I needed money. I needed money for college really bad. So like that just taught me like quick, like you pick up the phone. And like, that's not a fun thing. Like trying to just cold call somebody and sell them a car. You kidding me? Right.
Yeah.
Like, of course it's going to be an overwhelming number of rejections. Then they see, on the phone, and they come in and they see like some, 18-year-old kid. Right. It's like, what sort of like authority or credibility do you have? Right. So that was a really, like, looking back, that was a really important learning experience for me again about like not just the numbers game. Like, look, I've got all these numbers, and like, yes, there's going to be enormous rejections, but look, if I just get a few of them, like, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And that's all I got to do. And like, of course, as I'm getting rejected, I'm trying to like, okay, what did I say wrong? How should I have approached that better? And sometimes there's nothing you can do. Like this person just wasn't going to buy a car that. But there's other times when it's like, no, I really could have closed that deal, right? But I blew it because of X, Y was whatever it was, right? So you refine as you go. So that'd be my other advice to people: go work in a car dealership for about 6 months, and like you will never be shy about rejection ever again, right?
Nope.
Yeah, just go get it out of your system, something like that, right?
That's really good advice. The board of people we have, or the chair people of the board, one of them is an insurance salesman, and that's what he does, cold calls. He had no problem with the nose. He's like, whatever.
Yep, done. Not personal.
Yeah,
that's
personal.
it. Yeah, but for most people, like if it's exposure therapy, right? Like you need to be exposed to rejections to become like desensitized to it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and if you're not, then it's just like, this is what inhibits so many people. It's just that fear of rejection. I get it. I had it, and in some ways I still have it, but I've become so desensitized to it throughout the years of just everything I've done, selling online, offline, all that sort of stuff. pitching ideas and books and whatnot.
Makes sense. Well, I have a question on that, and this was actually something I wanted to talk about going into this.
Yeah.
How do you handle online negative comments or interactions, either in your Facebook forum or on YouTube or other places you may be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Fortunately, these days it's kind of odd. I get far fewer of those sorts of comments these days than I did 10, 12 years ago. I remember like 10, 12 years ago online, man, I don't know if it's the nature of the algorithm of just better sifting people to relevant places or what, but I remember my YouTube channel used to be flooded with hate. Just flooded with hate. Just like constant trolls and stuff like that. And of course, being much younger, I would just act foolishly and like get into it with people. But you learn things over the years, again, of not wanting to go back to like, your early 20s and this or that. It's So what do I do now to keep a healthy and positive environment? This is something I've put a good amount of thought in over the years. If I've tried to form, what Dan John calls intentional community. One is expectations from the start about everything. I mean, this goes across the board for life, but you have to be setting the tone and expectations from the top. So if you go to my Facebook group, my Strong on Facebook group, there's like a huge list of expectations. What is this group about? What do we talk about? What do we not talk about? Right? You have political opinions? Great. Keep them out of here. Isn't what it's for. Oh, but politics is important. Great. Don't care. Keep it out of here where you're gone. Right? Great. Like, because we are together and helping each other in this. That's what this group is for. Right? Feedback is, appreciated, but like your tone will be monitored, right? If you're a jerk, if you're crass, if you're crude, if you're vulgar, you're out. Like we just have policies of standard right from the beginning. Like, and I've realized that just having those terms of agreement, if you will, right from the start, I have them everywhere. I have them when you join my email list, what you can expect from me, what I expect from you. And like being very clear, like if you violate this, Pat Flynn is a pretty ruthless dictator. I joke around that I run my stuff like a dictator, but I do, right? If you violate these things, I'm kind of like, you're just gone, right? That's it. Like I was clear from the start. People are sometimes surprised because like, hey, I bought something for you and I just refund their money. I'm like, I'm gone. I don't want your business if this is how you do. And people
you're worth the money out.
Yeah, no, you're gone. And then oftentimes it like causes people to like sincerely repent, right? Which is good. That's what they need to do. And they need to see that, childish troll-like behavior will not and should not be tolerated, right? And sometimes they just need a firm sort of guiding hand on that and a firm rejection. Honestly, like, look, your money, I say this kind of like it means nothing to me, right? If you're going to act like this, you're out of the group. You're not my customer, right? So that's the biggest thing for me is what the group is about, what our mission is, the terms of behavior, how you're expected to act, and very clear guidelines for what will get you permanently removed. And then, just leading from the top, like how you speak, how you act, I find is extremely important. If you're putting out content where you are attacking people and you're tribalistic and you're denigrating and you're insulting, that just attracts all that stuff back, right? But if you're somebody who's, trying to be fair, trying to be balanced, you can criticize, of course, but always, doing it with a spirit of charity and like really trying to get at the truth of things. That even if people disagree with you, this is especially true for my philosophy channel, because what do philosophers do? They disagree with people. That's all they do, right? So like constantly offering criticism and disagreements, but it's a spirit in which it's offered that it invites a dialogue that is very rare online, which is one where, okay, we disagree, but we're really trying to understand each other and move. And I love that. That's the sort of thing that channel is really for. So between very clear expectations from the start, and setting that tone and the model from the top, those are the two biggest things that I've realized. And then when nasty stuff comes in, like honestly, it doesn't bother me like it did. It's a desensitization, right? Like when you've been called names on the internet for longer than 15 years. Because look, man, I grew up with the internet. I've been on forums for as long as I can remember. Just things just like they don't get you anymore, But you either become more confident in yourself or you just realize like it's just so ridiculous and stupid. It's not worth paying attention to.
That's good insight. Like you, we do have our standards on our Facebook group for backcountry snowboarding and skiing, and then in YouTube. I'm trying to think. There's this newer technique with YouTube where you can block a person from their comments and they don't know it, so they think they're engaging, and
Just
nobody
talk,
pays
just
them.
talking to the air, but they don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the term is called, but it's pretty cool.
That's interesting,
Yeah,
right? So
so
they're just huffing steam over there, and
they're
nobody's
feeling
nobody's.
validated, and oh yeah, I got them good. You got no one.
So
You're just
funny, yeah.
wasting your time.
Hmm.
So before I do that to them, I have a one chance, not three chance, a one chance, and I reply to them like, "We're not a good fit for each other. I'm gonna go ahead and block you. Bye."
I'm a one chance dude too.
Yeah,
Why? We're actually the same way with our children. Not that I block or ban my children, but we don't do strikes or
yeah,
warnings. It's like, no, we've been clear with you guys,
yeah.
right? And
You
if
know
you
what's good.
violate it, like you get the punishment. That's it. Like we're not,
Mhm.
oh no, better not do that. Because why? Because children love to push the limits, right? And if they know they have 3 warnings or strikes, how far do you think they're gonna go? They're gonna use them all up. Of
They're gonna
course
go
they
for
will.
the
I
fourth.
always did, right? So yeah, we don't do strikes or warnings, like, but we're very clear with our kids what is expected, why it's expected. I think we have, very good communication. They do understand it, and that's it.
Yeah.
You do the thing, you serve the time, so to speak, right?
I was just thinking about that. Isn't that from like Heat, the movie Heat?
Maybe, I'm not
Don't
sure.
don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Yeah, that famous line, right? Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah.
That's so true. I'm glad we're on the same page. I'm like, my asshole for like just one and done. But no, I feel better about it. I'm like, okay, it's off my conscience. And it's off
Yeah,
there, hopefully.
because other people see that, right? And they're like, "Oh, this dude's serious.
Yeah, we're here
I
to
better
help.
I better like think before I open my mouth."
Yeah,
Right? And that helps to create a far, far better culture, right?
totally. I'd rather have whatever 10,000 awesome engaged people who understand what we're doing and have each other's back over a million people just coming in, just
Fighting, trolling, right?
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
100% any
Quality over
day.
quantity for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, that's very helpful. I did get in one argument this week, and I've not done this before, and it was really awkward. In our backcountry ski and snowboard group, a woman moved from Germany, and she moved to Colorado, and she said, "Hey, I'm Elga from Germany. I don't have the education yet, eager to get it, the equipment yet, eager to get it or borrow it. Would anybody feel safe taking me to a safe backcountry spot or in the resort?" Very tricky question because the right answer is like, can you come to kettlebell certification and not know anything about it? Sure, we can teach you things, but then afterwards you can do them better. I don't want to gatekeep from that, but you won't know what don't know until you get there.
Yeah, right.
But a lot of people jump on it. You don't belong here. You need the education and the gear. I was like, she's open to doing that. She's also open to going into a resort, and you can have uphill access in a resort. That's something you can do safely. And so she was happy with my answer. And then a respected person who has books written on backcountry travel in the area, called me. I said, "There's no such thing as safe, Sean." I was like, "What are we talking about? Semantics here? Like, you're an author, you're very intelligent. Like, did I misuse the word safe?" And so I gave my definition of safe, going off of measurable things like slope angle, the forecast from the avalanche forecast, time, weather, going to the places. In the
Hmm.
summertime, so I know the terrain, what to expect. He's like, "Yeah, that's all. Those are all feelings." And I was like, "Those were all actual things, though." And so he starts to escalate it. And I'm like, "I think we're on
Feelings.
the same
They
page."
seem objectively measurable. I don't know much about that, but they seem
Yeah, I
yeah.
could tell you what the angle of the slope is and how much snow is on it. These are like really measurable, right?
Right. That's independent about how I feel about it. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. I think I like it. He's like, "It's safe. I go do it." So this goes on for 24 hours, and I kindly talked him down. He's also a very big, person in his community.
Yeah.
And finally, I was like, "I'm going to end this debate until we meet in person and talk about it." And then I was really heated, and I had a few drinks. I direct messaged him and I said, "Hey, you've wasted 24 of my hours of this soul sucking, what's the word I'm looking for? Splitting of hairs. Uh,
Yes.
Either get with the program or get out of here."
Yeah, good for you, man. Yeah, I fortunately I haven't had an issue like that in a long time. I used to have them all the time.
I
All
bet.
the time.
I bet.
I think I'm so much better about it now because I'm like on the other side of things. Like I was that guy who was always fighting with people on the internet,
Yeah.
man, for so many years. And like now I'm just so over it. I'm so over it. And what I found is like if something starts to get like that and it's a person that I know and like I can see like okay this might start to strain the relationship like it just like online is the worst place
Yeah.
for it like get on the phone or see each other in person because like when you just change the format It's so different, right? It's
Hmm.
just so different than when you're just like, on a Facebook thread, right?
Yeah.
Where so much could be missed or misinterpreted, and it's so easy to just to say things that you wouldn't normally say to somebody's face. So my policy now is like, yeah, fortunately I haven't had to deal with this in a long time, but it's like, look, if we want to disagree, and I really, don't want this to like sour the relationship, especially if it's on something important, like we're gonna at least get on the phone, right?
Mhm.
Or preferably even just meet up in person or something like that.
That's a really good angle to approach it from. Because I probably will see this person on the skin track or in the backcountry, and no hate, just don't like the way he talks.
Yeah, like, and other times it's just like, yeah, that's just it, and it's just got to move on, right?
Totally. Oh, good stuff. Oh, so you are upgrading your process of video and audio production. What's this all about? What do you want to accomplish with it?
Yeah, trying to, man. So I like exciting goals.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess it would be good for me to state it now because it's all about sort of skin in the game. So like, yeah, last year I had the goal of the books and the articles um and I've had business goals for many years and very thankfully done well with it. Like, direct response email marketing, that's what I do, right? Wife's home, we homeschool the 5 kids. But the one thing I've never really cracked the code of because I've never really even tried is social media, right? For better or worse, like social media has just sort of um in some senses kind of just automatically taken off for me, but then things change and then like I just don't care anymore and this or that. So um and my wife, God love her, she's so patient with me, Sean. She's so patient. And so much of what I do is just not financially relevant. In fact, it's probably a financial drain. Like, what is writing academic philosophy papers for somebody who's not in academia? Like, what does this do
Yeah.
aside from nothing? I just like to do it, and she's always supported it. So I'm like, Christine, I want to set a goal this year that might actually have a positive financial benefit instead of just taking all of our time and money and just flushing it down the toilet, right? And so like I want to crack the YouTube code. I want to do it.
Right.
I want to start 2 new channels with quality production. I've been doing a lot of research. We can talk about it. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. One is fitness related. One's going to be related to my little green book about productivity and skill acquisition and skill stacking and becoming a generalist and stuff like that. And
Ooh.
between those 2 channels, I want to get that stupid. What is it that YouTube does? The goal is that plaque. Didn't they say like a
Oh
silver
yeah, yeah, the
plaque or
flag.
something?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that's the
100,000 or
that's the
1 million.
target. That's the target.
Okay.
That's the target. Within I think 2 years, I think would be like a good,
All
like
right.
aggressive, but I think doable. I mean, look, I have a friend, a good friend, man, and like it goes to show, like if you can crack the code, you can do. Because he was running a channel, philosophy related, kind of like my philosophy channel, which has grown. It's got a number of thousand subscribers, but slowly, but without attention to what the algorithm cares about. Then he started a new channel where he specifically did pay attention to what the algorithm started about. Maybe 6 or 7 months ago, already has 75,000 subscribers, constant viral videos. So that was really inspiring to me. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do this year. And so that relates to the production thing, because one of the things that I've realized is if you want to make YouTube happy, you got to care about how things look, how things are edited, how things are essentially all the stuff I've never been doing. I've always been an impromptu, crappy camera,
Throw it up there.
not great mic. And like people who like my content, who do my content say it's amazing content. But the thing is, my content doesn't get, I don't think it gets really promoted or featured because I'm not hitting or checking certain boxes
Hmm.
that YouTube cares about. So my goal this year now is to get those boxes checked and to take it a lot more seriously. I don't know if I'll hit it, but I know I'm going to try really hard.
That is fantastic. I would love to know what he did for Channel 2 to grow that dramatically. And
Oh,
how,
dude, I'll give you a channel. I'll give him a plug. His name is he's I was on his other he was on my podcast too. His name is Parker Case. And his new channel, um, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. And it also helps because he's got this really cool handlebar mustache. His new channel is called Park Notes. Park Note, like Spark Notes, but Park Notes. And he's his original channel was like, like my philosophy channel, like deeper dive philosophy stuff. And it's a pretty niche type of thing. I get that. And his new one is just it's what a lot of channels do, and they get a lot of attention. It's like, helping people to learn and study better, like much more kind of It's not like super deep technical philosophy. It's much more just practical how to, here's how to get more out of your reading and study sessions with commonplace books or journaling, like really kind of basic stuff, but he does a really good job with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just focused on, again, much higher quality production, the appropriate length, good editing, good scripting, good thumbnails, good headlines, all the stuff. Just, and clearly he did it right, because if you're looking at his channel right now, I think you are,
Yeah.
like, it's impressive, man. Like, this
He did the
boom.
chapters
And he
help. Mm-hmm.
and the chapters. So I've been studying a lot of channels like that, but like seeing his a friend of mine like him have that sort of recent success was like, all right, yeah, I do want to try and finally, like, I've been on YouTube for like 15 years, but I never cared to try and do it right, which is kind of irresponsible, I guess.
No,
Right? But
it speaks testimony to what you want to do. You want to give your quality, your help, and be useful to your audience.
yeah.
And you're really good at that. You're the best at that.
Well, thank you. And it's not like my channels have been like, I got a good number of subscribers and I have a few views that are like, I don't know, I have one, but of course it's all my stupid videos. They're like almost like, I have one video, it's almost close to 1 million views or something. It's just so dumb. It's like, why did that one take off? Like, I
I
want
don't.
to delete it. And I
I,
have like one goblet squat video that like did really well, but I'm like super young and it's not that great. It's like, man, that one has to have all these hundreds of thousands of views.
and why? I mean, it's good.
Why?
I feel
Why?
I will put in. I think it's great production. I'll drive to the mountains. I'll get lights out. I'll have 2 or 3 cameras like I do right now, set up. Got the mics on, and I'm in the environment of which the thing should be used. I got all the facts, and it gets like 1,000 views. I'm like, cool. And then I put a hoodie on, a crappy one, and it got 350,000 views. I'm like, what?
Dude, yeah, I know. So, there's things that you can analyze, and that's what I've been doing, and things that I think help your chances. But at the end of the day, there's obviously no guarantees. But
Mm-hmm.
this is good, man. You just committed me. This is something I shared with my wife, but I haven't made a public commitment yet. So here I am. All right, people can look, a year or two from now and see if I did it or not. And maybe I will. Look, I set a lot of goals. I do not accomplish them all. But I do work very hard at all of them. And this is one that has, yeah, I think it's been a long time coming, because just like everything I do online is just, and I've ignored social media for far too long. I'm just like, I'm gonna at least try to do it right. Mm-hmm.
I love it. Well, how can I start helping you? You have camera, you got microphones, do you have lighting? Do you have a space?
Yeah, man. You wanna talk about that now? Is there anything else you want to do for your audience before I bore you
I'm
with all those questions?
no,
Yeah.
no. This excites me. I've helped set up a few different of our writers' YouTube stations. Like I've given them cameras with microphones, whether it's wireless or whether it's on top of the. I don't have them here, of course. On top of the camera microphone, which might be good for you
Yeah.
because you're in kind of a static room. You're not dealing with a lot of noise. Maybe the HVAC kicks on here or there, but you're probably fairly well insulated in there.
Yeah. Well, how about this? How about if there's anything else you want to chat for your audience, be happy to do it. Otherwise, I will just give you a tour of my equipment in my house, and you can
Yeah,
tell me everything that you think, right? Yeah.
yeah. Let's do it. I got a notebook right here. See what we can fix.
Cool, 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 man. All right. Let me yeah, let's do this. Can we wrap the podcast up,
Of course. Yeah.
and then we will go do that.
Perfect. Pat Flynn, gonna check out how to be better at almost everything, and that's gonna be turning into.
And hey, tell your audience if they're interested in like the setup thing, and after we do this, we want to do another thing. Maybe we could do another episode on it.
Oh yeah,
But
before and after, and I'll do
yeah,
before and after too, because mine's gonna change in the next month or so too. It's
yeah,
always evolving, so this will be fun.
yeah,
We'll each level up.
yeah, yeah. So yes, thank you for plugging my book. If people want to link up with me, you can find me on. I'll be starting new YouTube channels, but my current ones are. If you just Google Pat Flynn kettlebells, you'll find my kettlebell YouTube channel. If you're into the philosophy stuff, you just Google Pat Flynn philosophy, it'll pop right up. You can link up there.
Perfect, Pat. We will come back with a part 2 of the Super Studio, an upcoming Engearment podcast. Thanks for having the pleasure of breaking it here first and allow me to be part of this. As always, Pat, one of my favorite people to hang out with, to chat with, to learn from, to find on social media. I'm always showing you off to all my clients and students and friends because you're just so fascinating.
Oh, dude, seriously, making me blush. Yep.
Yeah, my mother-in-law loves you because she's a recovering Catholic, and she just thinks the way you approach all of this is just amazing.
Well, yeah. Well, God love her, and please tell her that I said hello, and I'll be praying for her.
Fantastic. I'll see you tonight. All right, team. Sean Sewell with the EngearmentCut.com podcast. Stay tuned for the next one.
See you guys.